All right, welcome everybody to our very first author talk. Excited to start the series because there are so many incredible authors in our community, and I want to each month take a moment to highlight all these amazing folks and their books. And Mary is here this week. So Mary Higgs has written a book called Mindful Practice, A Beginner's Guide to Vibrant Living. So we're going to hear from Mary today. We're going to hear a little bit about her book, what inspired her to write the book, and all of that. And each month, we will meet. What are we on? Is this the third Wednesday of the month, I believe, at 11 Central. And you can just join in, and we always will do the replay as well. So you'll be able to catch the replay. And I'm so excited to share with you all of these incredible authors. And if you know someone maybe who has written a cool book, connect me with them. We have the first few months of the year planned out, and then we still have a bunch of room for some other authors as well. And yeah, so thanks for being here. All right, Mary, welcome. Um, you are one of our annual partners. Um, and your business name is Yogi Abel.
Mhm.
And so just give us a brief overview of who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me, Amy. It's so awesome to be here as my first author talk too. So we're breaking um, boundaries here. Um, yes, so my I founded my business Yogi Able, and I wanted to choose a name that would go along with sort of what I'm about, and so I I like to think that everyone is yogi able, meaning that anyone can do yoga. It's not some exclusive club for just a
Yeah.
certain type of person, which is what most of us thought before we got started. Maybe that's a generalization, but it feels like most of us thought that. I know I did. I came to yoga late, and so I was in a car accident when I was 19, and it was a devastating event because I was very athletic, and eventually, when I finally woke up, they said, "Well, some people in the room, the nurses would mention, well, you may not walk," and I was really surprised by that. I thought, "What do you mean?" It just shocked me because I was 19, I had no clue how to proceed with my life.
Yeah.
So it was really a struggle for me. And it took years and years of developing tools to kind of come back into my body. I was a dancer before, and I wanted to dance on Broadway. That was my goal. Well, that was not going to be achievable. And I had to sort of like regroup and figure things out. And it was a long process. And it wasn't something that, you know, I think you're continually healing. We've talked about your brain injury, Amy, and you just continually heal in different layers of
Yes.
your injury, right? And so it's like, oh, now now that and when I turned 50, I told the doctors I really, really want to try yoga, and they kept saying that's going to hurt your back, you shouldn't do it. And I finally just decided when I was 50, you know what? Not now, when?
And, doctors do such a disservice. Like, there's
Mhm.
such a fear around yoga. And don't get me wrong, like, you can hurt yourself in yoga, but like, yoga isn't all about the physical practice.
Yes.
And so it's so like discouraging when doctors tell people, oh, don't try yoga. You can make it worse.
And they need education. It's not as we have discussed before, Amy, in conversations, you know even placing your hand on your heart and closing your eyes and breathing deeply is a yoga practice. That's how I kind of came into it. And I started yoga before they had accessible yoga. And when I found out there was accessible yoga, I said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And
Yeah.
so that's the path that I went down, but I had to do a regular teacher training first, which I didn't have the skills at that time. I was just beginning. I didn't really know how to tap into my inner wisdom and all these things that I think yoga does for uh it's a practice, which I love the idea that it's a practice and not anything that's completely perfected. It's not, you don't perfect the poses, you move through the you move through through mind, body, and spirit. And that's how I connect. Now, some people have different ways of connecting to yoga, but for me, um, it's a spiritual practice. And so I wanted to write this book to share with people my tools that I've developed over the 40 years or more. And it helped me come back into my body and learn to connect with my mind, body, and spirit. And that has been a life-changing experience. And so I want people to learn these tools and use them how it will help them.
Mhm.
Um, as a teacher, I always try to encourage people to find their own practice because, you know, I've been in classes before where it's just like we're moving through the poses and we're just not breathing and we're not really feeling anything. And to me, that was not a very helpful way to practice. Like I said, we're all different and we all have different ways of connecting with the practice. But for me, I wanted to expose people who have no idea any or even someone with injuries who just thought, oh, there's no way that I could
Mhm.
do anything like that. And the fear sets in. I will say I did hurt myself in the beginning. I did because I thought, oh, I've got to hold this pose and I've got to, and I didn't
Yeah.
understand what the practice was. And now I've been practicing 10 years and it just keeps evolving, into a deeper practice. So there's no one way to practice mindfulness or yoga, or for me it's adaptive yoga. And so I just want to encourage people to just tap into their own um practice. Create your own. It's your own way of being in practice. Did you
Yeah.
find that too? Is
Yeah. I
that?
was just going to say, when I've been doing yoga since college, and when I had my brain injury, I also had a lot of physical injuries, and I knew yoga could help me, but I just didn't quite know how
Mhm.
to maneuver that because I like couldn't lift my arms higher than here, and I couldn't turn my head. I had neck injuries, and that's when I understood the transformative and healing power of yoga, just like simply sitting, like you said, your hand on your heart or whatever. It wasn't all about asana.
Mhm.
And that that was truly the beginning of my healing journey with yoga. Before that, it had just been about exercise, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's how most people come to yoga is through like a group exercise yoga. And
Mhm.
that's great, but we need to also educate people that that's not the only way to do yoga. And
Mhm.
I think that's where your book comes in. And I love that like the name has really nothing to do with yoga.
Mhm.
And because a
Yeah.
lot of people, I hear it all the time. Oh, I can't do yoga. I'm not
Yeah.
flexible. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
They-
We're not, or
We've done
or
such a disservice,
yeah.
right, with how we've presented yoga over the years.
And it's sort of changing a little
Yes.
bit by, but I think there's larger changes to be done, we know that. And I think once people realize that they have their own agency, it is their practice. It's not like following the specific, and you can follow whoever you want as a teacher, but I'm just saying, you know, once you decide that it's your practice and whatever feels good in your body, that's, I think, when you start to really feel the benefits of self-reflection and, self-acceptance. Acceptance was a big one for me because I had a hard time accepting that I had physical challenges. And so I was fighting against it. And that just took me deeper away from my story and my truth. And once I finally started kind of understanding the changes and how the practice could help me, healing began.
Yeah.
And if that's what I love about the community is that there's so many different ways to tap into it. And there's not one way. There's no one path. There's no, you know, I'm I just hope people can understand that it's nothing to be afraid of. And if you try it and you don't like it, I remember kind of funny story. I was teaching my dad some moves, and he actually got so relaxed he fell asleep. I said, "Dad, that's okay. It's all right that you sort of just relaxed into it because relaxation is a part of it." And but I thought that was so cute. It's
When you
just
hear little snores during Shavasana in your class.
I've never gotten to that point, but
I've only gotten there like twice.
well,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah.
Oh,
Um, so Mary, tell us a little bit about what people can find in your book
mhm.
and what your intention was. Like, what did you hope your readers would gain from purchasing and reading your book?
Well, I wanted them to learn some tools for their own life and to create their own practice. That's why I kind of titled it a beginning guide, because I
Hmm.
think that we can begin at any point in our, at any age. We don't have to. And
Yeah,
you can even be like seasoned yogis who want to just kind of go back to the basics and just really reconnect spiritually. But yeah, I wanted to inspire people to just create their own, but also learn how to tap into inner wisdom. That was a main encouragement that I want folks to understand. When I discovered that part in my practice, I was like, wow, this is so amazing how these small tools can have a huge impact in all of our lives, in every facet of our life. And so I wanted to kind of inspire people to learn some tools and go from there. You know, this is a lifelong journey. It's not something like, oh, I have all the trainings I need and I'm done. No, it's not that. It's a continual lifelong journey of education and learning how to self-accept and be reflective. And I, yeah, I hope that people can pick and choose what works for them. And I've suggested they could start, at the beginning, but you can jump around too. I mean, once again, it's
in
your
the book.
practice.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I've set it up into 5 sections, and there's 25 practices, and there's inspirational quotes and stories to go along with the quote, and then mindful movement and mindful journaling, and
And
just to kind of give you
I
a range.
love that you have a mantra for each chapter.
Yes. And
I
they go with the,
want
yes. And they go
time
with the,
enough.
yeah. And, people can create their own mantras too. I mean, I'm trying to give people the choice to just, have the freedom and explore. Because exploration for me and becoming curious was the beginning of my practice and beginning healing. And like I said, this can continue. You don't have to just do one book and, oh, I've got it all. No, it's a continual process. And that's what I love about it. Um, I'm hoping that people can feel inspired to just take the reins and just try to create their own, even if it's only like a 5 minute day situation. I was trying to encourage a couple family members, just take 5 minutes, even if you just want to sit and be quiet and just, closing your eyes and learning to just sort of ease into your body and accept the moment, living in the present moment, even if it's just something as small as that, and even repeating a mantra. You can create your own or take one from my book. But so I want to encourage people to just, dive in, explore.
Mm, yeah. And, you know, your chapters are all super short.
Hmm.
Try to get to one here.
Hmm.
Um,
They can see an excerpt in the Midwest Yoga magazine too.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
the only issue. Yes. Yes. So, like 3 pages, right? Like chapter 3, mantra, follow higher self. and then you have a practice and you walk people how to do a simple practice.
Mhm.
And then the exploratory writing prompt. Like, I love this. It is like, it's so easy.
Yep.
You walk us right through it.
Yeah.
And um, because I think for a lot of folks, it's hard to, especially when you're new to yoga, it's hard to know like where to start. Like you want to do a practice. And so
Mhm.
having these 25, you have, you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks
Yeah.
of practices if you want to do a daily practice. And I
Mhm.
think this can really get you kick started. And once, you start getting into that rhythm, then it's a lot easier to come up with your own thing. Um,
Mhm.
so I think it's a really cool way to get started. And we were talking, said something earlier about no matter how much education and training you have, we're always still first and foremost a student and a beginner.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a teacher, and I just love the fact that, lifelong learning is just built into our DNA. And so the practice itself is just there for you. And thousands of years, that's what's so fascinating is that it's
Yeah.
evolved, but yet it's still the basics of the spiritual, connecting with mind, body, spirit, those little important lessons that you learn in the beginning. Um, and then you just can keep growing. So my goal was to try to get people in the beginning, but even like I said, seasoned practitioners who want to just, oh yeah, I forgot about that, or
Hmm.
you know,
Go
just
back to the
slowing
basics.
slowing it down. I think a lot of times when you're at a big class, they just, they're trying to teach a lot of people, and so it's all kind of fast movement
Yeah.
or whatever. I think um I think it's kind of interesting if they just deconstruct that, maybe just do a couple poses and not a sequence. Don't have a sequence. Just sort of, now let's do this, and we'll start and we'll just slowly build into the movement and incorporating more breathing into it, which I love breathing practices too.
Hmm.
Mm.
And
And you go.
in my most popular class, I do like an 8 week course, is we just go through, we explore the poses and how you should be feeling it in your body. Because so often people do yoga, specifically asana, they're doing asana poses, but they don't really know how it's supposed to feel in their body. So they're just going through the motions of doing it.
Mm.
And I love teaching folks like how to get that interoception and feeling it in your body and like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to feel this. Um, and that's
Mhm.
one of my most popular courses. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
I too, and then it's different for everybody. Everyone's gonna feel. I remember when I first had a class and I was noticing some people were sitting out poses, and I was like, "Whoa, why are they doing that?" Well, now I know they were listening to their body as they were
Yeah.
supposed to. And I think maybe that's a teaching moment where teachers can say, "Look, take child's pose. You don't have to follow through with every one of these movements that we're talking about. Finding what helps you and finding your grounding and your centering is more important than learning how to do headstand. you
Yeah.
know I mean,
And not everybody should be doing headstand.
no, that's for sure. And that was one but no, oh gosh, I have to tell you this story. I had the most amazing experience in Mind Body Solutions when I did headstand, and they have an incredible adaptive way of doing it. And I wrote an article about it, and I think it's on my website, um but it was just the most incredible. It's you laying down. I don't want to give it away, but you lay down, and you would put your hands behind you on the wall, and you're pushing that way. And I actually felt like I was doing, and I sat up crying because it was like I hadn't been able to feel that in my body, since the car accident. And so it was those moments to me are what makes a practice your own.
Mm.
I want everyone to find that moment for themselves. So.
Well, Mary, do you do you have any thoughts of doing a second book now
I
that
do.
this one came out? Because this
I'm
one came out when? A year ago?
January and kind of December, January. I mean, it's yeah. So it's about a year, but
Yeah.
yet, well, it's complicated. I had the book out, but then we had the actual uploading of the other elements, like the
Audiobook.
yeah, and those other things kind of came in January.
Hmm.
So, it's kind of a slow, but the actual, so I kind of consider it January because this is when everything kind of came together. But yeah, about a year. And you're right. Once you write one, you're kind of thinking, yeah,
Uh-huh. It kind of becomes an addiction in a way. Like, oh, this was fun. I'm gonna do another one.
I know, and I like you. I like the way that I kind of split up that 5-step method that I created over the years and kind of pick things that would go in those chapters, and I have more I could do. So, but I have other ideas. We've talked about some of those, Amy. But yeah, I would love to do that. I feel like there's so many people who might discover more about themselves if they continue with, like, they start with my book and maybe just keep going, and that's kind of what I'm kind of thinking, is that others might see the need for more. And in fact, I've got a lot of people talking about journal prompts, which I, as a writing teacher too, I love the journal prompts, and
Mhm.
that might be another avenue as well. But just anything that helps you tap into, your inner wisdom. And we've talked about this so many times, Amy, but just the fact that when you're born, you have this sort of innate inner wisdom, and that as you get older, it's just kind of, you
Yeah.
know, you lose it and you forget that that is available to you.
Yes.
So just learning that one lesson can be life-changing. So,
Well, your book would make a fantastic little stocking stuffer, a little Christmas gift for your yoga or wellness enthusiast in your life. Tell us where we can find this and purchase this.
yes, you can get it on my website, of course, but I have I'm mostly on Instagram, and you can get it there on Amazon and other bookstores. And like I said, there's an audiobook and a print book and a ebook. So
Mhm.
there's three different formats. And they're all there on
Amazon.
yeah. But then there's others too. And I'm sure it will come up if you research, if you like a mindful practice, and you'll see other
Yeah.
options.
And what is your website? Is it yogiable.com?
Yeah, yogiable.com. And I'm on Instagram, Mary underscore Yogi Able. And um, and then you can find it on Amazon too. So I hope people do get it. That would be an awesome. I mean, I worked on these practices with my mom, and she had a lot of physical challenges, shoulder issues, and so I really kind of, she had passed away, that's why I dedicated the book to her and my husband. But um so she had passed away, but she really got a lot out of these practices. And, you know, I know she's smiling down on us, saying,
Yeah.
yeah. And so um, it's not just, it's for anyone. It's just anyone can benefit.
And like this and like a little journal and a nice pen to go with it, like perfect little gift, right? For
Oh,
just,
I love that.
yeah, right? Great
That's
little
awesome.
gift for the holidays or birthdays, whatever.
Mhm.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for being here. This has been so lovely. Thank you for helping me kick off this Author Talk series. Any final words of wisdom for anyone watching this?
Um, I just want everyone to realize that they have the inner wisdom and the power to transform. It's all within ourselves. And once we learn to tap into that inner wisdom, then transformation comes in waves. And I just want them to take agency over their own practice and just find what works for them.
That's great. Well, thank you for being here. And just one more time, Mary Higgs, Mindful Practice. Her website is yogiable.com. You can find her book there or on Amazon. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone, for watching. You can find the full schedule of these at midwestyogamag.com. And we will see you all next month. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you, Amy.